about it, but there's things that I can't talk about. But I do know this for a fact, that there was more to the story than my son just falling in the lake and drowning.
Hold on for a minute, let me count mine. You know. Ask me what I'm doing, just grinding. Haters wanna hate, let them hate, never mind them. Be more bins, tryna reach the next plateau. And I can't stop till I achieve my goals. Keep a couple feeds inside the photos, so official with the vibe and can kick up my zone. Hold on for a minute, let me count mine. You know.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Damian Cryer, and I'm back with another video. If you guys have not subscribed to the Cryer family, all you have to do is turn that bell on to subscribe to the channel. By being subscribed to the channel only means you are subscribed. And in order to get notifications every time I upload a video on the Cryer family, you must turn on that bell with the vibrating symbol. That way, every time I upload a video on the Cryer family, all of you guys would definitely get the notifications. Also, guys, I am back uploading on my reaction channel. For those of you who don't know, the reaction channel has been changed from that of OMR to that of the Cryer Family Reacts. So I will be putting that link in the description box down below. So please feel free to go on over there and subscribe to that channel. I do drop daily videos over there on that channel. They're all reaction videos. That channel was primarily for reactions and reaction only. Also, if you guys have a video suggestion that you want me to react to, it's real simple. All you got to do is just drop a comment in one of the videos over there, and 99.9% of the time, I'm definitely going to make that reaction video happen for you guys. Now, as you guys know, a lot of content you can't really react to. So if I don't react to that particular video, I will send you a message in the comment section letting you know why I couldn't react to that particular video, because a lot of videos that you react to is actually blocked worldwide. So you can post it, but nobody will see the video. So it wouldn't make sense to film a video that you can't post, and especially one that nobody will ever see. So also, I want to start this video off by saying, you know, prayers to all the families who lost their loved ones in Texas yesterday to the school shooting. Another senseless shooting that comes at the time where kids only had a day or maybe like a day or two of school left. You know, it's just really sad, man. Keep those people uplifted in your prayers. Like when you sit down at the dinner table tonight and have dinner, or when you're ready to go to bed tonight, man, pray for these families, man, because it's real out here. It's real out here. I am a father who's actually lost a child, and my son, he was an adult when he passed away. And you know, and even 5 years later, you know, the pain is still there. Nothing really changes. Which brings me to what I'm talking about today. Today is May 25th, 2022. Today is year number 5. That on this very day 5 years ago, I lost my oldest son, Deontay Cooper, to a drowning back home in Indiana. And, you know, every year on this anniversary, you know, on this death anniversary, I try to bring awareness to, you know, his story that's happened and how it changed my life, and to bring awareness to the other people who's actually going through similar situations, you know, and how something like this have changed their life and affected them for the rest of their life. You know, I often have a lot of dreams and stuff. Well, it's not as much as it was back then when things first happened, but I still have dreams every once in a while where I still can remember the people knocking at my door on that rainy, stormy day, telling me that my son was actually missing. I still have vision in my head when I called Damon and Bianca that morning and asked them to go out to Lakeside Park. I still have visions in my head of when I got to the park, seeing the dive team boats out there in the water searching for my son. You know, it's just, I mean, there are so many memories of everything that happened. It just plays over and over in my mind, like literally all the time. And like yesterday, hearing about the shooting that happened here in Texas, you know, it just really brought back a lot of memories. You know, my son didn't die in a violent way or anything like that, you know, but he still was taken too soon. You know, I feel like, you know, my son was still taken from me too soon. You know, he was taken from all of us because my son was a great kid. He was a great man. He was a great father. And most importantly, he was really a great, you know, son, you know, and friend as well. You know, we never know when it's going to be our last day. We never know when God is going to call us home. We never know when it's going to be our last breath of air. Some of us don't even know if we're going to even wake up tomorrow. And as God is my witness, there is somebody who's probably not going to wake up tomorrow. You know, like the senseless killings right here in Texas yesterday, it really just, you know, had me really thinking about a lot of stuff. Like what it made me feel to lose my child. And again, he was an adult. And I just could not fathom what these families are going through right now. You know, losing their babies. Second and fourth graders. Lets you know how old these children were. 5, 6 years old, some maybe 7 years old. You know, and having young children myself that's 14 years old and 1 year old, it just really sickens me to my stomach. You know, when I think about them going to school and stuff, and some of the stuff that they go through at school as far as bullying, fights, people saying things about them, you know, and not knowing, you know, when one of their fellow classmates is actually want to go home and think about bringing a gun to the school the next day, you know. But last year, you know, I waited 4 years, guys. Last year, it wasn't my first time going to the cemetery to see my son Deontay. It was just one of the first times I actually went past the fence and went into the cemetery. I had pulled up to the cemetery on multiple occasions when I go to Indiana, but I just stopped right there at the gate. I never actually went in like I did last year. If you guys haven't seen that video, it's still posted on my channel. It's called the worst day ever. So if you type that in, the worst day ever, the Cryer family, that video is still posted. But it really took a lot for me to actually, you know, go past that fence this time when I was in Indiana, and it was hard. You know, it was really hard for me to actually pull up to my son's gravesite and look down at him, because I felt like no parent should ever have to bury their child. You know, losing my son actually has really changed my life. It has. You know, I could have became one of those people who took a loss and just decided F everybody. You know, God ain't real. You know how when most things happen, we be like, well, if God was real, why would he allow something like this to happen? And I didn't want to be one of those people, man. You know, I wanted to just stick, you know, stay in prayer and try to be uplifting and try to uplift other people, you know. And so I decided not to be one of those people, man. I decided to, you know, just pray about the situation and pray about my situation was the way I was thinking, the things I was going through, the feelings and emotions that was involved with thinking about, why would you take my son from me like this? You know, he was only doing what he loved to do. You know, he loved fishing, you know, and he was doing the most innocent thing. And it's like, you know, why did you take him from us like that? But then I think about what yesterday's school shooting right here in Texas and Tops grocery store in Buffalo, New York, where people were doing the right thing. Students were sitting in class. People were in the grocery store shopping, just moving on with their daily life, doing what they love to do, and how their life was taken. But I felt like, you know, blaming this on the man above is the wrong thing to do, you know. And it took me a long time to not put that blame on the man above, you know. And I realized that the way that I was thinking, the way that my mind was processing losing my son, I wasn't thinking right. You know, a lot of people said, Mr. Cryer, like, you should go to counseling for this, because at the same time of my son's death, literally the same time of my son's death, I didn't realize that I was going to be going through another storm, which really changed the whole entire trajectory of my life, and even to where it changed my life so much that it changed the whole entire state that I live in. I live clear out in Houston, Texas now, and I don't really know a lot of people out here. I have my kids, I got my son's mom that's out here. I don't have any friends out here, people that I kick it with, people I hang out with, people coming to my house and we sit down and have social drinks and dinner. I just moved to a whole entire different state, and it just really just changed everything for me. And I know if Deontay was still here, I would most likely probably still live in Indiana. And even if I didn't live in Indiana, I know my son, he would want to come where his dad is at. And so, I really do miss him a lot, man. And like I said, I have like a lot of things that pop up in my mind. And 5 years ago on this very date right here, December 25th, 2017, I remember this time of date, the time of day that it is right now. This time of day right now, on this very day, 5 years ago, I remember exactly what I was doing. I was at Lakeside Ponds in Fort Wayne, watching them pull my son's body out the water. I literally witnessed and watched them pull my son's body out the water. And it was the things that was going on before they pulled his body out the water. They were actually talking to me, the fire department, the police department, the news team. There are still clippings up of me talking to the news people on television while I've been on television. And I remember talking to the investigators, because at this time when I pulled up, they had not found anything. But then after being there for 15, 20, 30 minutes, I seen one of the dive team pull their boat out of the water. And then I seen one dive team that remained sitting in one spot. And I seen somebody on the boat. I think it was the fire department that was there. The fire department had deployed their own dive team at the time. And I seen the remaining boat. One of the divers on the boat went like this. And they just sat in one spot. But they went like this, a thumbs up to whoever was watching. And I believe it was the coroner. She was a female coroner. And when they went like that, I looked over at the coroner because I was trying to figure out what did the thumbs up mean. And that's when I seen the coroner. She started putting these blue latex gloves on. And when Damon started crying and stuff, real hysterical, he had seen the same thing that I seen, where the coroner, she started putting her gloves on. I seen my son, he was really crying, hysterical and stuff, and Bianca was trying to hug him and stuff, and she started crying too. And apparently me and him both had seen the same gesture from the dive team to the coroner. And that's when we knew that it was real. That's when we knew why the other dive team pulled the boat out the water, and why the other dive team that stayed was sitting in one spot. And we knew that they had found Deontay. And it's like, I would have never ever imagined this, because me seeing them pull the first boat out the water, the first thing that comes to my mind is, okay, my son, he's at some girl's house. He left his truck here and everything. But what struck me odd was his fishing equipment was still sitting on the ground. you know, but I had just a little glimmer of hope when they pulled the first boat out. I come to find out that my worst fears had became my reality, and it's a reality that I'm gonna have to live with for the rest of my entire life. You know, even at, I'll be 52 years old in about 2.5 weeks, and there's not a day that goes by that I wish that it was me instead of my son out there that they have found that day. You know, guilt has always hunted me all these years, guys. I'm not even gonna come on here and try to say anything different. It's hunted me for a lot of years. The guilt that I introduced my son to this life of fishing. And I felt like me introducing him to this life of what I love to do as far as fishing, it was better than a life of street gangs. It was better than introducing him to a life of, you know, thinking that selling drugs is okay. I wanted to introduce him to a life that I felt that he would enjoy, that his kids would enjoy. And I never would have thought in a million years that my son would lose his life doing the most innocent thing that a person could possibly do at his age. And that's just to be out fishing and just enjoying his life, you know. And there was a lot of other stories that were surrounding this whole situation that gave me and my family and my friends a whole lot of confusion and conflicted stories about things that happened. And we didn't really know like what was going on, who was telling the truth. You know, some people were saying that others was involved. Some people were saying that my son was forced into the water. I'm gonna be inserting some clips in this video, guys, from 5 years ago when I was at the park talking about the situation of losing my son. I'm sitting here today at Shove Park. Been kind of hard for me lately. On the 25th of this month, 25th of May, about a week and a half ago, my oldest son, Deontay Cooper, he went missing. He liked to fish, and he was out fishing. And I'm not for sure what happened or what took place, but I got a call saying that somebody had found his truck at the lake and found his fishing equipment on the ground, but nobody knew where he was. And the police was called because it's unusual for my son to leave his fishing equipment sitting on the ground and to leave his truck sitting there with nobody there. So we called the police, and the police came out, and apparently the police figured that he might have left and went with some girl or something. And we tried to explain that my son would never leave his fishing equipment sit on the ground or leave his truck sitting there. So they didn't do anything. They said had he fallen in the water, they said that he would have floated to the top or some crazy stuff like that. So that was on a Wednesday. The very next day, which was Thursday, we went back out there at 2 in the morning and called the police again. His truck was still sitting there. His fishing equipment was still sitting there. So a really nice cop came out and walked around the lake with flashlights and didn't see anything. Truck's still there, fishing equipment still there, but my son's not there. So the officer decided when daylight came that he was going to deploy a dive team to Lakeside Park here in Fort Wayne, which they did. About 9 o'clock, 9:30 that morning, they end up finding my son at Lakeside. He was in like 5 or 6 feet of water. And he was gone. And we watched them pull my son out and put him in a bag. And we were just lost because we don't know what happened. Right now, today, we're still waiting on the toxicology reports to get back. We just buried him just this past Saturday. Today is Thursday. We just buried him Saturday. It's my oldest son. If anybody out there knows anything about what happened to my son, please contact me send me an email. Email was black_dac2@yahoo.com. My name is Damien. I mean, just anything. If anybody has anything, because losing a son is the worst thing in the world. Losing a child is the worst thing in the world. And I can't even express the pain that I'm feeling, that my family is feeling. And it's just really hard because we don't know what happened to him. He was 28 years old. 28 years old. And again, we buried him Saturday. Now we have to wait 4 to 10 weeks for the toxicology report to get back to tell us anything. And right now, we just lost. We don't know what's going on. There's been a lot of rumors said, a lot of different stuff that's been said. And I don't want to believe the rumors that I hear. You know, I just really want some type of closure, you know. But again, my name is Damien. If anybody know anything, anybody here in Fort Wayne, familiar with Lakeside Pond, who's seen anything happen that day, please say something. Please come forward. And I think I was getting myself prepared for his funeral, which would have been maybe like a week later. But there was so many different conflicting stories on what happened. And normally when there's a death, a lot of people come forward with different information, you know, saying that other people was involved. Do I still believe in my heart right now to this day, 5 years later, that there was more to the story? I believe that there was more to the story, guys. I'm just gonna say it. I was scared to say this years ago because I had just been a new YouTuber trying to come up on YouTube. And I was scared to say certain things, but now I'm not scared to say anymore. I believe that there was other people involved. I believe that there was people close to him that was involved. There was so much, man. And it's like, you know, now that all these years that went by, and people think that things get better with time, but the truth of the matter is things don't get better with time. The only thing that changes, guys, is time. How you feel about a situation doesn't change. The only thing that changed throughout this whole entire ordeal was time. That's it. That was 5 years ago, and this is now 5 years later. That's the only thing that's changed. My feelings, the hurt, my pain, is always gonna be there. It's always gonna remain. And honestly, man, I just hate that I had to even live to even experience this right here, because I wish that it would have been me, the one who used to skip school just to go fishing, the one who lied to his parents about doing this and doing that, knowing I was fishing. You know, I just felt like that he shouldn't have been the one who went, that it should have been me. You know, and now it's like, I know Darian, he loves fishing. And I'm sure that my younger son, Deon, is probably going to grow up loving fishing, because it's still what I love to do right now today. You guys might have noticed over the years, I don't fish as much as I used to do. You know, when I started my YouTube channel was based on nothing but fishing. Now, I talk about my love and my passion for it, but it's something that I'm really scared to do a lot. I remember about 5 months after burying my son Deontay, me and Darian, we went out on my boat one day. And while we were out on the boat, I didn't realize that I was just staring at the water. Darian had to be like 6 or 7 years old at the time, possibly 8 years old. And I remember we had put the boat anchors down in the water, and I just sat there, and I didn't realize it. Darian was sitting at the front of the boat, and he looked at me, he said, "Dad, you okay?" And I looked at him, and I said, "What do you mean, am I okay, son?" He said, "Dad, you're staring at the water." He said, "Are you looking for Deontay?" And he said, "Dad, Deontay is in a better place." And you know, I started crying so bad. Darian literally walked to the back of the boat where I was sitting at, and he sat next to me, and he put his arm around me. And he said to me, he said, "Dad, remember what you told me?" He said, "Deontay is in a better place." And I didn't realize that I had just been staring at the water in days. And then I found other times where I had went out there by myself, and I took my fishing poles and fishing equipment with me to fish. and I never even put a pole in the water. I just sat there on a bench, just staring off into the water, just thinking to myself, like, you know, blaming myself for everything. You know, I blame myself for so much that happened. Like, I blame myself even for my divorce. I blame myself for Deon's passing. You know, I blame myself for so much because I figured if I would have took the blame, that things would have been better. You know, and realized that sometimes when things happen like this in our life, it's not really our fault, man. You know, it just means that God needed us for something else. And I keep reminding myself right now to this day, maybe God needed Deontay for something else, you know. I see a lot of families right now to this day going through a loss of a loved one. And a lot of these people who's going through the loss of a loved one is dealing with these losses in extremely horrible, horrific, violent ways. And sometimes, you know, I sit back and say, stuff that happened to these people yesterday or the day before or last week, I couldn't imagine what they're going through, especially being that I'm still going through it now, 5 years later. So I don't believe that time heals all wounds. I'm not saying time won't heal some wounds, but there's some things that time doesn't heal. You know, I lost a little brother, my youngest brother. His name was Ronald Dwayne Cryer. I lost him violently to a killing in Indiana. One of his best friends used to stay the night at my mom's house. He killed my little brother. He just shot my brother in the back of the head, execution style. He killed my little brother. You know, I witnessed the death of my mom. You know, and like I said, it's a lot of things that time just don't heal, man. You know, my mom, she had passed away. You know, it was age. You know how that stuff is. You know, and like I said, you know, you never get over that stuff, man. You never stop thinking about that. I see people all the time, like, disrespecting their moms in the grocery stores, talking crazy to them. I see people online making videos about their moms and dads and disrespecting them in the worst way possible. And I just sit back and I just shake my head. It's like, you know, imagine living in a world where we don't have moms. You know, we don't have that guidance anymore. We don't have that person to go to give us that loving, wonderful, mommy feeling hug that we all seek. You know, imagine living in a world like that. And for me, it's hard for me to see someone disrespect their mom. It really is, you know, and I'm not gonna be perfect because I know I done said things and did things when I was younger, you know, getting locked up that really hurt my mom's feelings and stuff like that, talking back to her and getting mouthy. But now I look back on everything and it's like, that same person I used to disrespect and not listen to, I wish I could just talk to her right now. My oldest brother always told me, he said, Damien, no matter what you go through in life, brother, he said, always remember that there's somebody out there that's going through something a lot worse than what you're going through. And I think that that's one of the things that's really helped me stay uplifted, you know, and kept me motivated through the years that all this stuff has happened. And, you know, I try to keep my head up high in every situation, even when it looks like it's a situation that's never gonna get better. You know, we all are confronted with things every day in our lives that we choose not to talk about. You know, we all are confronted with things in our lives that's causing us a lot of pain. But at the end of the day, we all find ways to deal with it so everybody don't know our pain. We hide our pain by laughing, making funny videos, doing crazy stuff to make people laugh. But at the end of the day, when we go home at night, when those cameras are off, that's when the real reality kicks in of what we're really going through in our life. You know, a lot of people are hard to express themselves. A lot of people, it's hard for them to come on camera and express themselves, especially when there's real emotions involved. I'm just one of those people, man. I'm not really afraid to express myself anymore. I'm not afraid to talk to the camera. I'm not afraid to share my story with the world because I think my story can help someone and change someone's life or stop them from making a bad decision. After all of the shootings that I've been involved in, of me getting shot multiple times, all the stabbings, the scars I have to live with for the rest of my life, the pain I have to live with when that arthritis kicks in, you know, that pain is nothing compared to the pain that I experience every day when I wake up, when I think about losing my son. You know, so if you have somebody in your life, man, who's going through it, you know, try to reach out to them, try to be there for them, man. Let them know that it's gonna be okay, because you have a lot of people out here suffering, and the people that we talk about every day in such a nasty, horrible way, you never know what those people are capable of doing, and a lot of them are thinking about ending their own life. You know, and it's like, reach out to people, man, that you know that's going through stuff, man. Don't wait until the last day to give them their flowers and say goodbye. Give these people their flowers while they're here, man. You know, try to be respectful to one another. You know, again, you have a lot of people that's suffering that's right in your face right now, and you don't even realize it because you're looking past all the signs. You're missing all the signs. You're missing the most important details of what's going on in their life. A lot of us, we miss the signs of when people are trying to talk to us and tell us things until it's too late, and then we say, damn, I should have seen the signs, man. He or she was trying to tell me, but I didn't see the signs. Look at the red flags that's there, man. Look at the signs. Reach out and talk to these people, man. Find out what they're going through, man. Sit down and talk to them. Take a couple seconds out your life, man, to make sure that next person is okay. You know, before it's too late. There's a lot of things I wish that I could have did differently, and I don't, you know, I know I shouldn't keep beating myself up about introducing my son to what I love to do that cost him his life. And there's a lot of things that I do know that I found out a year or so ago that's actually new information. It's just that I'm not able to share that right now because of ongoing circumstances. You know, I wish that I could talk about it, but there's things that I can't talk about. All right, this is Damien. I'm back again. I guess I still have things on my mind as far as I don't have a lot of subscribers on my fishing channel because I'm actually new to this, but I know that there are people who look forward to me dropping new fishing videos with my 9-year-old son. So I do apologize to the few people who do watch my channel that I haven't dropped any videos in the last 2 weeks. Kind of been dealing with a lot of stuff, you know. If you've seen the other video I posted about 20 minutes ago, I was explaining that I had lost my oldest son, Deontay Cooper, about a week and a half ago. So that's why I haven't posted anything. Actually, I just recently went back to work this week. Today is June 8th. Excuse me, today is Thursday, June 8th. I actually just went back to work this past Monday, which would have been June 4th. And I have to tell you, it is hard. It is not easy going to work, trying to smile, perform your job, and try to hold everything in. You know, I work at a steel mill, and it's like 99.9% guys work there. Sometimes some people can be kind of rude, kind of inconsiderate. You know, and at a time like this, it just seems like I don't know, I'm not a bad person, but I don't really have a high tolerance for being patient when people are being rude, but I try to overlook it. So I haven't seen a counselor or anything for what happened to my son. I consider myself a strong guy, a strong dad, a strong father. Because I have other kids. I have a son, his name is Akeem. He lives in Mississippi. I have a daughter, very beautiful daughter. Her name is Margaret Malone Foster. She lives in Tennessee, close to Mississippi. I have a 9-year-old son. His name is Darian. And he's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful child. So I have to be strong for my other kids. I have to be strong for my other kids because my other kids need me. And if they see me weak, obviously they're going to be weak. So I have to be strong and continue to be strong and move on. My 9-year-old son, this has been hard. My 9-year-old son, because we fish every Saturday and every Sunday if I'm off work. And again, I work in a steel mill. In the steel mill, we work a lot of hours, 10, 12, sometimes 11-hour days. But trying to explain to him, because he's like, Dad, are we going fishing this weekend? Dad, are we going fishing this weekend? And it's hard for him to understand what happened. Now, my son Deontay, my oldest son, is not by my wife. My oldest son is by a previous girlfriend. And we broke up, Jesus. My son was born in '89. Me and his mom separated in like '91. So my son doesn't really understand a lot of what's going on. He knows his oldest brother is in heaven. And that's what I tell him, you know, that he's in a better place. You know, he's not suffering. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to explain to him how come Daddy doesn't want to go fishing. So it's like trying to coach him through this to get him to understand that Dad's just not ready to go back out on the boat right now. Dad's not really ready to get back on the water right now. And for me, that's a shocker because everybody knows me, knows my passion is fishing. I work, and in my free time, I fish. Matter of fact, I can work 12-hour days every day, and I'll come home on Friday and cut the grass to make sure my work at home is done so I can go fishing. And here's my son Darian right here. This is my 9-year-old son, and I am talking to YouTube about your big brother.
You saw him break his ankles?
About Deontay. I'm talking to them about Deontay. So this is my 9-year-old son. He's out here playing basketball, and I'm shooting video right now. I should be spending time with him.
Hold up.
Oh, go ahead. Don't make out there and play. I seen that shot. Good job.
I broke his ankle. You saw that?
What? You better not.
Bam.
Don't break any more ankles. But, so, that's what I've been doing. Today I got off work after working 10 hours. I was tired, but I still decided to bring him to the park today to let him play ball instead of sitting in the house. You know, I'm still trying to cope with it. If any of you guys out there have some advice for me, leave a comment, you know, give me some suggestions of a better way to deal with this situation. I mean, I read all comments, and I guess this is my way of reaching out. Sometimes the best advice is from somebody that you don't really know. So I guess this is my way of reaching out. This is sort of like my time away from work, my time away from home, my time to be able to just sit back and have time to myself and think. Me talking on here is, I guess, my way of trying to deal with it and again, seek some advice. So I'm willing to listen and read whatever comments that you guys have. And please continue to keep my family in your prayer. And I thank you from the heart. But I do know this for a fact that there was more to the story than my son just falling in the lake and drowning. And you know, when I told you guys earlier in the video that the second dive team that stayed in the water that went like this, I had ended up speaking to one of them later on. It was like weeks later, and they had shared some things with me, you know, about that there was some suspicion and that there was some things that was questionable. Even speaking to the coroner, she even told me that there were some things that was questionable and there were some things that were suspicious. So I don't know, man, you know, I don't really know what I'm looking for. If I'm hoping that, I don't know, it's just hard to really get closure at this point for me. And even 5 years later, it's still hard for me to get complete closure because I just feel like that there's more to it. Anyway, man, I just want to say, you know, thank you for you guys for watching this video, man. I love you guys. You know, this is just the day where I really woke up and, you know, I know that this is my son's, you know, 5 years ago on this very day is where he lost his life. And I just wanted to just talk to you guys, man, and just share how I'm feeling with you guys. But comment down below, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, man. But I love you guys. Until next time, I'm Damian Cryer. I'm going to see you guys in the next video.